Sailor Moon. I Sailor Moon. And I'm Molly. And today we're going to talk about this one other thing. Whatever it is. I know we bring this up a lot. But are we the black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership? Why do I ask this? Because when you're in a Sailor Moon followership, there seem to be at least 3 offshoots of it that you could, belong to. There's the doll gatherers, the ones that gather every doll ever made by Irwin and Bandai, who are mated, who do podcasts, who know everything about the show and somehow happen to know everyone else who's a doll gatherer. But at the end of the day, they don't really take their dolls out of the box. They don't really give their dolls any love. They don't play with them. And at the end of the day, they're not the be all be all e all. They're not the they're not the top of the Sailor Moon followership, even if some folks think they are. Then somewhere underneath them are the Costa players, or the clothing players, or the self players, or whatever you call them. The players that go out and show play as the Sailor Moon selves, who, some of these folks make their own wear that they show play as, and a lot of them tend to stick to their own followership. And then underneath them are folks like us who play with dolls, and that, the way that some folks say it, it's almost like it's a slight, And I always wonder, am I the black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership? Is anyone that does this seen as a black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership, or is even a thing at all? First off, I'm going to say, Molly says that first off, I'm going to say, I don't think that there's any truth to that at all, Sailor Moon. I mean, I don't think there is. I just think there's just a followership. I don't think the doll gatherers are on top. I don't think the show players are in the middle, and I don't think the ones that play with the dolls are at the bottom. I don't really think there is ranks to being in a Sailor Moon ranks to being in this followership or any kind of followership on YouTube, even if some folks think there is. So no, I don't think you're the black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership at all. I mean, there are other folks on YouTube who do the same thing you do. Yes, they might work the squeeze dolls instead of the hard wax dolls, or the man-made wax dolls. But you're not alone in it, So I wouldn't be thinking that you were some kind of a weirdo in the Sailor Moon followership, because you're not. You do bring up a good thing, Molly, because in the beginning, when I was first on YouTube, there were a lot of folks. Well, mostly they were the haters haters or trolls that would say, "Oh well, you're besmirching Sailor Moon. You're not being trusting to Sailor Moon. You're shaming Sailor Moon. You're besmirching Sailor Moon. You are sliding Naiko Takiguchi," or however you say her name. Which was all bullshit. I was just gatekeeping, trolling bullshit that some folks in the Sailor Moon followership, and even some folks that weren't in it, were saying that. But I'm not talking about them. The grounds is that at the end of the day, I don't really think there's any ranks to being in a Sailor Moon followership. I don't think the doll gatherers, or whatever you want to call them, are on top. And I don't think the show players are in the middle. And I don't think the folks that play with the dolls are in the bottom. And I don't think the doll gatherers, don't think they're too good for the show players. And the show players don't think they're too good for the ones that play with dolls. At all. And as far as me thinking that I'm some kind of black sheep to the Sailor Moon followership, I don't really think that's true. I think anyone in a Sailor Moon followership who plays with dolls, as that's how the. But then that's like a slight. That was what the trolls and the haters would say. You know, anyone that does this, you know, and there are some folks on YouTube that do it. And you're right, Sailor Moon. At the end of the I'm gonna go on, Molly. You're right, Sailor Moon. At the end of the day, you're not the only one that does it. I mean, you already followed some other folks on YouTube who do the same thing you do. Yes, they might work the squeeze dolls instead of the man-made wax dolls, as I said, but there are out there. And since YouTube's a big website, and not everyone knows everyone, you know, and I think you know as much about the show as anyone else in the Sailor Moon followership, even though you haven't been in it, following it, or watching it as long as they've been watching it, though. But you probably know as much about it as they do. You know. And also keep in mind, you do one thing they don't do, is you give your dolls love, and you play with them. Something that some of these doll gatherers don't do, because they're into either keeping them in the box or showing them off or having them somewhere in their room where they show their big Sailor Moon doll gathering and that's it. And they're into, you know, getting every Sailor Moon thing there ever was from Amazon and eBay, you know, doing their podcasts and all that other stuff. And some of them behaving as if they're too good for the other Sailor Moon followers, but I don't really think there's truth to it. Not at all. Well, at the end of the day, I don't think you're a black sheep of Sailor Moon followership at all. I don't think you are at all. Well, thank you for saying that, Molly. Anyway, I'm not the black sheep of the Sailor Moon followership. I don't think I ever was. You know. And if you like that film, then follow me over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Watch the last film we made yesterday over here with me and Luna. I'm Sailor Moon. I'm Molly, and I'll see you later. Bye.